Hi, and welcome to Animalia the Podcast. I'm Natasha, and thank you so much for tuning in. You haven't heard from me in a while, I know. It's been super busy juggling the responsibilities of a day job and the weekly live radio show I co-host with my husband Garth, Eye on Dependency. As a result, I've decided to change the frequency of the podcast from every week to every fortnight, so that I can deliver the quality content you've come to expect from Animalia. Still having conversations with amazing people and addressing the tough areas of animal welfare that are so necessary. So this week, I'm speaking with a remarkable woman who has dedicated her life to animals by providing much needed transport for owners who have no other means. She's a former flight attendant, an entrepreneur, the founder of Pet to the Vet, and a mommy to 8 doggos. Please welcome to Animalia, Marguerite Miranda. Thank you very much, Marguerite, for joining us here on Animalia. I know it took us a little while to get started, but we are finally here. Thank you again for making the time to speak with me.
Thank you. It is my pleasure. Unfortunately, we had a lot of hiccups, but, and I'm apologizing in advance if you'll hear a lot of dog barking. It could happen occasionally.
That's fair enough. It's happened before. We are used to that at Animalia. So please start by telling us a little bit about yourself. What was your relationship with animals growing up?
Okay, so I have loved animals. Actually, if you go on my page, you will see me as a little kid, about 2 years old, with a dog.
Mm-mm.
I've always loved animals. We've had goats, I've had squirrels, I've had cats, dogs, every animal you can think about. I've had it. We've always been a animal family. We all love animals. So wasn't strange that I got into this field after how many years?
Hmm. And what was your early career? What were you into before Pet to the Vet came up?
Well, actually, something completely different. I was a flight attendant with BWI. And but after BWIA closed down, I was always encouraged by a girlfriend of mine, Charmaine, who works at the Broad Street, and she was like, Marguerite, you have a passion for animals. Why don't you do the transport? And I was like, if I cannot do something 100%, I'm not going to do it. And after flying, well, I did other things, and then one day I was driving and saw a dog that was hanging from the back of a pickup. The people tied the dog in the back of the pickup and it jumped out and was hanging.
Oh no.
And I was blowing the horn and people on the street were trying to attract. And this is a little dog that had a cone on his head, a little pompec with a cone.
Oh wow.
And of course, he stopped and he was going to put it back in the tray. Well, he got it from me.
Hmm.
And that's when I decided, I said, this has got to stop. I am going to do this. And if I'm not going to do it to the pickup, I wanted the animals to be comfortable in an air conditioned environment, just like any human being, because I believe that my animals are like my children.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I absolutely love animals. As a matter of fact, I'm a vegetarian because of that.
So am I. I know the feeling.
I love meat, but I can't say I love animals and eat them. Unfortunately for the poor fish. And it's shrimp, but I have to eat something.
Yes, yes, yes. No, I hear you on that. I made that decision about 20 years ago myself. I just could not bear the kind of cruelty that I saw in the farming industry. Even traveling on the highway locally, I mean, you see these chickens in these tiny crates, and it was too much.
I change lanes. I change lanes, and I literally do.
To avoid seeing it, yeah, it's rough.
To avoid things, I change lanes. You see the cows and the goats, and like, especially when they're tied up, in the sun, and no water, and no shade, and I'm just praying for the laws to pass, because trust me, when those laws are passed, those people would hate me.
But I mean, the industry does, have its supporters. And I mean, I think it's unrealistic of us to expect that human beings gonna stop eating meat, but there are humane ways to farm animals, right?
Yes, exactly, exactly.
So you made the decision to start this business. You became an entrepreneur. What were some of the challenges that you had in terms of setting up the business and then marketing it to your potential customers?
Well, initially, I bought a pickup, and the intention was that I was going to air condition the back. And then when I realized the cost in doing that, and everybody's like, you bought the wrong vehicle, buy a panel van. So I went and I bought a panel van, and that's when I started. But I was doing it with the pickup at first, and then I got the panel van, and I started doing the panel van. And I guess my love and my passion for animals was my sale pitch. And people recognized how much I loved animals and they trusted me with their animals. And of course, a different thing like punctuality is 100%. I don't do late and communication. And people appreciate when people consider them and they consider their time. So that, I mean, like if I am running late, I always tell my employees, if you're half an hour away from somewhere and you know you cannot get there, call them and tell them you're running late. People appreciate that, right? I don't do late. Anyways, and after that, it became the lifting of the crates because, of course, we lift in crates. Injured my shoulder while flying, so I decided to buy a handicap vehicle, and this handicap vehicle has a lift, so the dogs can just walk in. The lift comes down, and the dogs could just walk in, and it's elevated into the vehicle. And we also have stretchers. We have stretchers for those animals that are incapacitated or whatever. And then of course we work with two crematoriums where we do transport for the deceased at that unfortunate time.
Is there any specific training that you would have sought or taken for this job? Because I know that there are other people who provide this service, but it's pretty new and novel in Trinidad and Tobago, like a pet ambulance.
Well, the thing about it is that remember I told you I was a flight attendant. So I had that basic first aid, right? But I'm not a vet. However, what I have done, I'm not on the road as much as I used to because I have three telephones that I juggle and it's kind of difficult to be on the phone. So I have my employees outside there most of the time. But what I did when I first started, right, when I was on the road all the time, I would always go into the clinics because I work with all the clinics in Trinidad, all the vets. So I would go into the different clinics. When I take a pet into the clinic, I would go and assist however I can, right? And I learned quite a lot. Of course, as I said, I'm not a vet, but I've learned a lot, and I am the one who everybody calls at 12 o'clock in the night and 2 o'clock in the morning because they bit a frog. I always have to be walking people through what to do when you bite a frog, how to do it, and I'm on the phone for hours trying to walk them through how to handle it or other little things and whatever I could do. Then, well, I have about 26 vets that I could normally kind of call on sometimes at those times of the night. But it's all a passion. This is not a job to me. And thank God, God has blessed me with a young lady called Sherry Ann Luke, and she has just as much passion for animals as I do.
I'm sure you've met quite a few interesting characters along the way. So apart from the veterinarians who are that's one group in and of itself, but tell me about some of the interesting owners that you've come across in this journey.
You want to hear about the latest ones that I've had? Well, right now, I've adopted a homeless couple with a dog. So I go every evening. That's why when I spoke to you, I was just rushing there to go there. I go there because my heart goes out to them. They love the animals so much. People look at homeless people, yes, they have their ways, but you see, when it comes to animals, they love. We had one the other way who had one, but he used to be tied up on the priority bus route where his shack was. Remember that one?
Yes, yes, I saw that.
Boy, but unfortunately, the guy became jealous. The old man, he got jealous and he said, which I don't understand because I mean, like in the evenings when I would go to get my hops, my Lisa and there, I would buy hops and cheese and take for him. But he got jealous of the dog and he said that's how the dog took away his luck and he chased the dog. Well, anyways, well, thank God for Renier. Mustafa project. Rennie was willing to take him, so I got him, and he's at Sunnyview, and he's a star at Sunnyview right now. Actually, he's a real star. But I've worked with so many animals. I've transported goats.
Mm.
Yep. Yes, and I learned from them too. I never knew that you're not supposed to give a goat flour. And these people who had this goat, and I can't remember what happened, but they gave the goat flour water. And well, of course, the stomach got huge. We rushed into the large animals, and they had to puncture it and try to get all the air out because the flour, and that was amazing for me. Unfortunately, the poor baby died, but that was an experience to me. We've been in so many different, like I've also dealt with transporting the dogs from down by San Fernando in the pound. We've rescued quite a lot of those. But basically, I mean, I love my customers and they trust me, because they know that I have their children in my hands. People, like someone said the other day, if you don't know Marguerite, you don't have a dog. Which that made me feel really proud. And well, for the past 8 years, I've been feeding dogs around the Arangues, Mount Lambert area. I feed up to 30 dogs every single evening. It's a love. It's my way of giving back. It comes out of my pocket. Other times, people would donate food. Vemco would give me a bag ever so often, and people would donate ever so often, But it's a love, and it's what I love to do.
Well, I actually met someone just like that in Maloney. She has been doing this. Camille.
Oh, I know her. I know her.
Oh gosh, when I heard her story, I was like, wow. I mean, and I'm sure there are many more people like that. It's amazing how selfless people can be when it comes to stray animals. Do you have like a position on this? What do you think could be done at a local government or national level to assist with the number of stray dogs that we have and cats?
First of all, I think that the law needs to be passed. And all these little petty things for the law to be passed, that, I mean, this has solve it. Okay, that's one. Two, I was in Bonnier 2 years ago, Bonnier, ABC, but Bonnier, and they spay all their, I mean, I know it's a small island, but they spay all the stray dogs, right? Not only do they spay them, the vets are provided with Bravecto. Well, Bravecto is a tablet that you give the dogs, and it eliminates ticks, fleas, mosquitoes, and mange. So all the stray dogs get Bravecto. I mean, I don't know if we can afford that, but we need to have I mean, the government needs to come in with a big spay and neuter drive, right? And then not only that, we need to educate the people. It needs to start from the children, from school, because we have to teach them that a dog is not a dog, and a dog is not something that you throw a bone after you chew it up. That's not a meal for a dog. You have to remember that that same dog is there for you. God forbid something happens to you, and that dog will protect you. That dog, when you come home from work or you're tired, you're exhausted, or something happens, even though you hit them before you leave, that dog would come running, wagging a tail, and welcoming you. People have to recognize that animals have feelings. And that's all. The only animal in this entire world I hate is a cockroach.
If I tell you an incident I had a cockroach this morning. Oh my God. And I know it was my cats. I have two kittens, Pierre and Thierry, and those two kittens came to my rescue this morning. Oh, that cockroach. I was in the toilet, girl. And I seeing this cockroach approaching. I just called them and they came and they dealt with the cockroach, give me enough time to settle myself, run outside and get the big one and come back and spray it.
You see what I'm talking about? They would even protect you from the cockroach in the bathroom.
Yes, this is what I'm saying. I mean, this is not behavior you would associate with cats, right? But I mean, and that's a misconception people have about cats too, that they are very aloof and antisocial, but they can be very loyal and loving.
Unfortunately, I love cats, but unfortunately, I'm allergic to the food. So if I hug up a cat, which I love to, I have to go and wash my hands instantly.
Allergic. Oh gosh.
Otherwise, it's itch, itch, itch.